Being diagnosed as autistic had a profound impact on my life. It completely changed how I see myself. Hey, everybody, welcome to ShaneBrain. Today, I want to talk about the impact of my autism and ADHD diagnosis. Why was that such a big deal to me? Why has it made such an impactful change on my life? And what can you take from my example that might help you understand yourself better? Whether you are also diagnosed with autism or ADHD, or you just suspect that you might be neurodivergent, or whether you have some other type of difference that maybe causes you to feel like an outsider, I think that you're going to be able to find something in my experience that you can relate to and that will help you in some way. So let's get started. When I first received my autism diagnosis, I obviously shared it with some people in my life that I'm close to, some family and some friends. One person that I shared my diagnosis with made the statement that it doesn't change anything. You're still you. And I understand where he was coming from and what he was trying to do. He was trying to be empathetic and supportive and accepting. But to me, that statement didn't sit well because everything had changed, at least from my perspective. Being diagnosed as autistic had a profound impact on my life. And the primary way it had such a big impact is that it completely changed how I see myself. What I discovered is that I have spent my entire adult life believing deep down that I am a bad person, that I am lazy, weak, undisciplined, selfish, morally flawed. All of these terrible things I genuinely thought about myself. I had a terrible self-image. I didn't know that. I didn't see it as having a bad self-image. I thought I was just a bad person. But once I came to the realization that so many of these things that I had seen as character flaws or moral failings were actually just signs of a brain that functioned differently, I discovered that I had lived my entire life with a terrible self-image. That was a big discovery. But I didn't know all those years. I had no idea that there's something called ADHD that caused me to have a hard time starting tasks or focusing on tasks and having the motivation to complete them. I didn't know that because of ADHD, I don't feel time passing the same way that other people do. And so I have a hard time managing my time and I tend to be late for things. So all of these reasons why I felt like a bad employee or a bad husband or a bad father or a bad homeowner, all these struggles were happening because of my brain functioning differently. So when I got my ADHD diagnosis, there was this whole section of bad things I used to think about myself that I discovered were not true. Then, about a year later, when I was diagnosed with autism, I ended up discovering there was another big section of things about me that I thought were terrible things that, as it turns out, were not. All of the social challenges that I dealt with, the fact that I had a hard time in groups, especially large groups, especially large groups of people I don't know, the fact that social situations cause extreme anxiety for me. I had always thought that I was just a weird, unlikable, socially awkward person. I didn't know that there were actual brain reasons for all of those challenges. I didn't know there were reasons why I needed so much alone time. Sometimes I felt drained of energy for no reason. I had never heard of sensory overwhelm or the effects of masking on my nervous system. I thought, again, all of these things were happening because I was weak and lazy and just a weird, awkward person. And of course, it turned out that those things aren't true. I'm actually just autistic. So here I am, several months into this journey, and I'm still reeling from this discovery because it was such a big deal for me. Just the knowledge, the understanding of why I've always struggled with these things has made such a big impact on my life. I can't even overemphasize it. So, what am I doing in response to all this? How am I moving forward now that I have this new understanding? Obviously, I am continuing on this journey of self discovery and self acceptance. I've come to the realization that self discovery is a lifelong process, and I'll never be done. I'll never arrive. I'll always be continuing to learn and grow and learn new things about myself. I've discovered that self acceptance is a very big process and may very well take me the rest of my life. And it's a big part of the journey that I'm on right now is coming to terms with all of these things and learning how to accept who I am. Part of that for me is learning how to let go of all the shoulds in life, all of the expectations that we place on ourselves or that society has placed on us or other people have placed on us, all the things that tell us how we should be living our life or what we should do in a certain situation or circumstance or how we should behave. I'm learning to let those things go because the truth is all of them are just made up. We just invented all of these expectations and placed them on ourselves and each other, and none of them actually matter or mean anything. What's really important is being true to who you actually are. And so that's how I'm trying to live my life. I'm trying to learn how to be authentic to who I really am. The most profound realization I've had since receiving my autism diagnosis is the fact that it's okay for me to be exactly who and how I am. And it always has been. So I'm trying to figure out who that person is. I'm trying to uncover my values. What is it that I actually care about? I'm trying to express myself authentically, to just be in the world and be okay with taking up space. It's not easy. It's still a struggle. And I will admit that often I am still masking or putting on a performance in different situations because it's so deeply ingrained in me to do that. But I'm trying slowly to let go of those things and to just be okay with being me. I hope that you also, regardless of your circumstances or where you are in your journey, can come to accept the fact that it's okay to be exactly who and how you are. And it always has been. If any of this resonates with you, or if you'd like to connect with me and come along on this journey, I'd love to have you join me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. This is a brand new channel, obviously, and I'm going to be talking a lot about autism and ADHD and neurodivergence in general, about self acceptance and self discovery, about burnout and shutdowns and masking and living life as an autistic person in a neurotypical world, at least from my perspective. Hopefully, you can gain something from that perspective, and I hope that you will stick around.